Ever had an affair? Cheated on your spouse? Slept with another person's spouse? If you said no, your first instinct might be to think that you're all good in this department, but hold that thought. If you're serious about being a disciple of Jesus, then you don't want to miss the fourth lesson from Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. I have an epic spot picked out to go do some filming, and Kayla thinks it's a bad idea. Which, if you're a normal guy like me, when your wife says that's probably a bad idea, what do you automatically think? You think? We must go. There's not a little danger in your life, you're not living. Let's go have some fun. Well, at this point, Jesus is well into his famous Sermon on the Mount when he looked at the crowd gathered before him, and he may have said some words, something to the effect of this. It's easy to see that there are so many of you here from so many different areas, so many different families, but despite all your differences, there's one thing that I'm sure all of you have in common. It's a teaching from Moses, and I have no doubt that all of you know it and believe it's true. Well, I could just imagine the crowd murmuring and looking about at each other, wondering what teaching from Moses Jesus could be referring to. After all, there were so many, and it was no secret that not everyone agreed on all of those teachings. People would be whispering under their breath to those nearby, "Which law do you think it is? Do you have a guess?" Well, then I imagine Jesus might have told them something like this. You all know that Moses taught that you should not commit adultery. You're never supposed to sleep with another person's spouse. Immediately, you could see all the faces in the crowd nod in agreement. You'd hear people kind of whispering to each other, "Oh, that's the one. He was right. Everybody does agree on that teaching." But then comes the real kicker from Jesus, when he'd say something like, "Okay, it's plain to see that all of you agree on this teaching about adultery, but before you start feeling overconfident and thinking that just because you've never gone out and had an affair that you're completely pure and wholesome, I have something more I want to teach you." And then Jesus goes on, "I need you all to hear this. If any of you has even looked at another man or woman and had lustful thoughts about them, then you should know this. At that point, you've already committed adultery with them in your heart." And the truth is, your heart can be swayed toward adultery much quicker than your body. I can just imagine how the crowd might have looked. Some people going, "Yep, we all agree that adultery is wrong," and maybe others going, "Did he just say what I think he said? Is he serious?" Others might be looking at the ground and their faces turned down in conviction and a pit in their stomach. But I think many in the crowd would be wondering, was Jesus exaggerating to make this point? Surely he can't actually mean that simply daydreaming about sleeping with another person is as bad as actually having an affair. Well, Jesus is so good at anticipating the way that people would respond to his teachings, especially this one. It's as if he knew people would be thinking these things, which is why what he said next is a really big deal. Well, right then and there, while the people were trying to determine just how serious Jesus was about this particular teaching, he gets all of their attention and then he gives them these radical, radical instructions. And this time, he was exaggerating to make his point. And he told him something like this. You may be wondering how serious an issue this is. Well, here's your answer. If you keep looking at another man or woman and you can't seem to keep your eyes off them, I'm here to say that it would be better for you to poke your finger in your eye and walk around blind than to keep letting your eyes steer you towards lust. Or maybe it's your hands that keep finding a way to reach out and pull the curtain back at just the right time to see the person going by. You know the one. Well, if your hand keeps making it easy for you to lust in your heart, I'm here to tell you that it'd be better off hacking it off and learning to live with one hand than to just keep living the way that you are. Well, whether people like this teaching or not, there was no misunderstanding about what he meant or how serious Jesus thought this issue of lusting after someone in your hearts and minds really is. To be clear, this is not a teaching about cutting off hands or gouging out your eyes. That was just simply Jesus' way of making it undeniably clear that if you're struggling with lust, then you'd better take drastic measures to eliminate those temptations. Fast forward to our culture today, and it doesn't take long to see that people have completely tossed this lesson from Jesus out the window. We live in this world full of dating apps that are designed to appeal specifically to the lust of the eyes. With a quick glance, you can just swipe left or right and indicate if you want to have sex with that person or pass. Instagram and TikTok are full of videos where a young man or a young woman walks up to a random person and simply says, "Smash or pass." If you don't know what that means, good. Don't bother learning it. It's a culture where casual sex with a stranger is normal. Beyond that, it's a culture that has swayed so far from Jesus' teaching that there's a whole month dedicated to celebrating the pride of sexual sin. Jesus shocked the world by saying that simply daydreaming and thinking about having sex with somebody who is not your spouse was really no different than actually committing the act. How would he respond to a world that's long past thinking about sex with a stranger or daydreaming about things with another person's spouse? Now the norm is to just do what you want. If you're up for it and they're up for it, then bam, go for it. Do what feels good. These are indeed dangerous times, particularly for young people. If you're a parent with young kids, let me please encourage you to get in the game, to double down. I think when most parents hear that kind of language, they might think that I'm saying you really need to get in there and check their cell phones and know what their friends are up to and be involved and ask hard questions. And yes, that is some of it. But here's the thing, that is all playing defense. There's something even more important than all the best defense, and that's a strong offense. My kids are all grown now, and looking back, I can say without a doubt that I played way too much defense and definitely not enough offense. Teach your kids what Jesus taught. Help them learn from him and live out what they learned. Then celebrate their obedience. And when you catch your kids doing what Jesus taught, jump for joy. Pat them on the back, give them a huge hug. Kids naturally go towards the things that make you happy. Well, apart from parenting, this lesson from Jesus certainly applies to everyone. None of us are immune to lustful thoughts or looks that linger too long and turn into more than just a look. So what exactly does obedience look like when it comes to your issues with lust? Well, there are all kinds of strategies and resources. But the point Jesus wants to make sure you understand loud and clear is this: take lust seriously. If you feel it burning, then you better take drastic action now. Not later, not when you remember. Take action now to set yourself up to be in that a better position next time so it doesn't happen again. Now, if this is something that you struggle with and you'd like some help turning the corner, we want you to know that we're here for you. We want to be there to come alongside you to help. So please reach out to us at info@jointhejourneychurch.com and just ask. Whether it's myself or Kayla or someone else on our team, we would love to walk with you and help you conquer this and turn the corner on it once and for all in your life. Well, horseflies. There is a lot of horseflies, a lot of beautiful scenery. Apparently, horseflies love beautiful scenery and biting me. Well, this adventure is far from over. So stick around and let's see what else we can find as we navigate this ridgeline along this amazing, gorgeous river canyon. Who knows? Maybe we'll find another way to scramble down in. Maybe we'll find a thing to scramble up. I don't know. Wherever we go, it's always an adventure. So stick around. Let's see what happens next.